Today we will be creating a plan for how we will paint our owl projects. First, we will look at our project and we will try and draw it matching the same kinds of shapes that we see on the actual project. I will start with a straight line across the top of the head with curves up on either end for the ears, and come down and connect with a curve for the bottom of the face. Next, I will make pretty straight lines coming down the sides and connect them with a curve across the bottom to form the bottom of the belly. After that, we'll add a couple of curves in for the wings, and then add any details that you created on your own individual project. In this case, those include stripes on the wings, eyes, a beak, and the fuzzy texture of the belly. To show the texture of the belly, I will use circles that are overlapping in looping lines. As they overlap, they will make the same kind of texture that my marker cap made on the owl. Next, we will work on completing the rest of the picture. You get to decide how you would like to fill your background. In my case, I decided that I would make my owl sitting on a branch of a tree in front of a big moon, but you can decide whatever you would like. Add lots of details to fill in your background. You can even add details like feet to your owl, even if you don't have them on your actual project. As you draw your background, think about what it tells about your owl. Is it daytime or nighttime? Does your owl live in a tree, or is it in a zoo? What kind of stories can you tell with your background? Next comes coloring. Coloring is an important part of this process as it will give us a plan for how we will be painting our owl during the next class. We will use up to 3 colors to create a base coat of paint on our project. That means that we will create 1 layer of paint that will cover the wings, belly, and the head of the owl. Later on, we will have a chance to go in and add details with other colors, like maybe white for the eyes or orange for the beak. It will be up to you to add those details after you paint your base coat and after that base coat has dried. To add color to our drawing, we will be using marker on the owl portion of the drawing. Be sure to follow all of our careful coloring directions, like picking a direction and sticking with it, as you can see I do here on the wing of the owl. You should also keep your lines close together so that you don't see white spaces in between the lines. After you have finished coloring in your owl, you will use crayons to color in the rest of the background. I would recommend starting with a nice light layer of crayon so that later on you can go back in and add more details by pushing harder on the crayon to get a darker value. Remember that value is a word that means the lightness or darkness of a color. When we push lightly with crayon, we get light values, and when we push hard, we get darker values. Remember that it is okay and sometimes easier to rotate your paper as you color. You can see here that I turned it sideways when I finished coloring my sky. Now that I've finished a light layer of coloring with crayons, I can go back and add those darker values. Using the same color that I used before, but with a little bit more pressure, I am able to add some nice dark lines that represent wind blowing in the background. Later, I will also add texture to my tree by using the crayon with a little bit more pressure to make darker brown lines.